What's good, ladies and gentlemen? Welcome to today's live stream. So, apparently, the CME has got way more open interest in Bitcoin than Binance. Why is that important for us? Well, let's just look at it like this. When someone goes to Binance, that's your retail trader. He wants to start trading Bitcoin. He wants to get his bag of cryptocurrency, load it all up, wait for a move to the upside, and then just contain his profits as such. That's what the average retail trader does. He goes to Binance, Bybit, Femex, you name it, and he's doing his business with crypto. Now, when an institutional fund manager wants to get access to the volatility of Bitcoin, he can't be seen as buying Bitcoin for a company, all right, unless it's something that they specifically do. He's got to manage people's money, all right? So he's got to pick certain markets. Now, the CME, which is the Chicago Mercantile Exchange, is a place with heavy regulation, and you effectively can trade the futures markets of a number of assets: soya, coffee, orange juice, NASDAQ, S&P, Forex, you name it. Bitcoin and Ethereum are also in that gang. Now, open interest is how many people are effectively using leverage, coming to the charts and effectively buying and leveraging crypto, okay? But on the CME, all right, it's just about what asset class is showing more interest. Now, so far, Bitcoin has been smashing it for the CME, which is suggesting that institutional investors are showing an interest in Bitcoin. That's good news for Bitcoin. So we've got the ETF. You've had the Ethereum ETF being listed by BlackRock. Happy days, are going through the process. Remember, it takes 240 days for the SEC to decide as to whether or not they are going to allow the ETF to roll into play. You've got the interest from the CME, which I'll be showing you very shortly. It's all coming together for what we would understand to be another move to the upside, okay? Now, you might be into cryptocurrency where you're loading up certain bags and trying to work out which asset is going to do the move for me. So that's what I'm going to be talking about today in the live stream. I'm going to be diving into an approach on how to really find those little gems that could give you, let's be realistic, the 10x, the 20x, and the 30, 50x returns. You know, going for 1,000x, you got to be conservative and realistic, because if you want the 1,000x ones, okay, it's near enough a gamble. But you want to have some longevity in crypto. So your goal is to try and play the game for as long as you can and not get blown out. You don't want to be putting down half of your portfolio's value into a coin just because a lot of people are talking about it on Twitter, but then saying that is a strategy that people do employ. So, you play with fire, you get burnt. All right? Now, today we don't really have any big news announcements coming into the marketplace. So what we're going to do is going to break down the charts. We're going to talk about a few altcoins. We're going to dive into this story about the CME and the importance of it. And then I'll be letting you guys continue about your day. All right? Wicked. Wait a second. Doctor's back. Yes. Dr. Vector has now entered the room, ladies and gentlemen. Let's start having a conversation about good old Bitcoin. Let's get with it. All right then, guys. Good morning, G-Man. What is good? How is everybody doing today? Okay, cool. Yep, we'll be talking about that very, very shortly. Yes, I'm very well, man. I'm very good, man. Wicked. Mad love to you all, guys. It's good to be here. All right then. So, firstly, what we got here. Bitcoin, it's doing great inside of this range right now. We do have a red vector candle that is very important because it would suggest to us that they could be getting ready for a move to the upside. And what I'm going to do in the next 10 minutes, I'm going to be diving into the Bookmap and understanding where we can really see the interest coming in on Bitcoin if they are looking to sell or buy within a certain range. So I'll be doing that very shortly. But let me just introduce to you this story, what's been going out. Look at this. So CME topples Binance as top Bitcoin futures exchange as crypto ETF excitement soars. Now, here you go. This is the chart right here, which shows CME at the top with 111,000 Bitcoin in terms of open interest. So roughly around $4 billion right there. And Binance is behind at 3.84. Now, this is a good sign because 90% of retail in terms of cryptocurrency are most definitely not trading in the CME. Only a handful of people are trading Bitcoin in the futures markets, okay? Most, if not all, are on Binance, Bybit, OKX, Deribit for options markets, okay? MEXC, you get the idea. So most of the liquidity is going into these exchanges. But when you see the CME coming at the top right there, that gives you insight that institutional fund managers are playing the game of Bitcoin trading, okay? Now remember, futures markets have an impact on cryptocurrency's price. We know that. Why? Because there are more people trading crypto as opposed to just buying and holding it. Now don't get it twisted. That doesn't mean that people don't trade and buy crypto to hold, but the bigger numbers showing that there's interest by bigger players to exploit Bitcoin's price, from whether it goes from now to 40,000 to 50, or to even come down to 30, down to 20. What I'm saying to you is they are playing the futures markets, which means that a big institutional investor could come in and say that he believes at the end of the futures contract on Bitcoin in December, he expects prices to be higher or lower. We would anticipate that, we hope that it would be higher, because the higher people are going for in terms of calls, we would then understand and say, you know what, if there are a lot of people showing higher interest in Bitcoin, that's only going to encourage people to start trading it more and favor higher prices. Of course, they do like to smack price back down and hit those stops. That's the nature of the game, ladies and gentlemen. But the general consensus says that if you've got the CME surpassing Binance, it means big boys are coming in and starting to load up cryptocurrency or trade the future value of Bitcoin and Ethereum, okay? You don't really get that many other assets to trade in cryptocurrency in terms of the futures markets. It's mainly Bitcoin and Ethereum, all right? But how can that help us effectively load up the bag? Well, look, think of it like this. If more guys, institutional investors, are coming in and trading Bitcoin's future price, that means that we're probably going to see Bitcoin's price move up higher. Don't get it twisted. Bitcoin will come down. It will move back up. We know that to be the case, okay? But let's say you want to start loading up your bag and you want to look for coins. 90% of people will go to probably a platform like this, CoinMarketCap, at an introductory level, all right? There are all sorts of places you can go to find out. They'll go to the Spotlight tab and they'll see what's trending, biggest gainers, biggest losers, okay? Most visited, recently added, all right? Now, if you just want to take a pot shot look at something, you go to the recently added, and then you say, I like the look of that. It looks like it could go up. It could go whatever. All right. This, in my opinion, would be acting as the place where you start to gamble. All right. That's not really a strategy. That's just for something that you do when your missus is getting her nails done and you're bored to death. You've seen a coin that's been listed, go onto Twitter, try and find out who's talking about it, who's promoting it, and try and exploit the idea. Put $100 in, and if you win, you win. Happy days. So I wouldn't really be paying too much attention to recently added, but there is something important to take into consideration when you're looking for certain altcoins, all right? Now, you've got to say to yourself, right, if I genuinely believe that this is a good project, how do I know it's a good project? Always read the white paper. Dive into the white paper. And the white paper pretty much gives you the roadmap of what this company is about and what do they plan. They even had that white paper for the scam coin and said, this is a scam. Yet people brought it, okay? They came clean about it and people still did it. And that's how mad cryptocurrency is. That's why cryptocurrency is an idea. You can't kill the idea because there will always be someone that believes it will be higher or lower, all right? So just be careful when you're looking at recently added. Now, when you get most visited, all right, you do see the heavyweights. You see Bitcoin, Ethereum, Solana. I'm going to be talking about Solana in a split second. You got Chainlink, ADA, XRP, all the heavyweight coins that survived the last bull run and the bear market and what have you, or the biggest winners of the bull market. They keep popping up, okay? So you always got to want to make sure that you have your bag that includes these assets. I think Solana, next to XRP, Solana's the one that's had the most heat in terms of FTX, all right? People just lost it. People were saying Solana was dead and done. It's doing pretty well as of late, and it's on its way towards that $60 mark. That's going to be a big move for Solana and just shows the support, given how effective the platform is, okay? Now, going into the trending biggest gainers, biggest losers, when you start seeing certain coins coming into play, that are doing big gains. You want to be careful of the volume that's traded. You want to look at the coins in circulation. But again, dive into the white paper. How active are the developers? You want to see the developers doing stuff. They have a goal. They have a belief. You're always about the philosophy of the coin, because the philosophy of the coin is no different to the philosophy of a stock. All right? You've got a stock that's listed for $5. They're planning on doing X, Y, and Z for the business to improve it. Why is it no different for a company that provides a cryptocurrency coin? They may have the same logic as someone in the stock market who wants his share price to go up. Cryptocurrency coins are no different. Now, of course, cryptocurrency is full of scams. People take advantage of people, so you've got to do your due diligence. But the only way that you can really verify if there is a coin that's going to work in the long run, which you can effectively put in your bag, okay, look at the white paper and stay in tune with what the developers are doing. What has the developers been involved in? We're in a day of social media where you can just go and search for anyone. Go onto LinkedIn, go and search the developers. Are they out and about? What previous projects have they done? Do they have the urge to want to see something succeed? This is all part of the due diligence. Don't just simply buy a coin and load it into your bag by seeing it's gone up 16%. That's sell liquidity. 17% sell liquidity. 20% sell liquidity. Okay? It then comes down, and then you feel like you've done yourself a disservice because you've done all the research. Why is the coin moving down now? Okay? So, white papers, developers, okay? Those are the two main things. Now, you want to start diving into how many addresses are there, who holds most of the actual coins in circulation. That's when you start going down a little bit of a rabbit hole where you can look at previous scams and rug pulls and try and see if there is a similarity right there, okay? Because the blockchain provides it all. Now, that's for the guy who's really going to dive into it. But as a guy who wants to start off, only invest in coins that have survived the bull run, that were part of the bull run last year, okay, or last time, and any previous bull runs, okay? And then, of course, the ones in the bear market, you want to be focusing on the activity of developers. What are they doing to encourage people to buy the coin? Are they trying to improve the coin service or whatever it is that they are actually looking to do in the project itself, okay? That's the best way, in my opinion, to approach picking up altcoins, all right, for your bag. And we've got the idea of how to trade them, which I'm going to be going into very shortly. Now, the mindset right now in cryptocurrency is very important. Check this out. So Saylor right now has got a massive bag, all right, of cryptocurrency. And of course, it's in $1 billion worth of unrealized profits. That's good news for us. Why? Because it shows that he's optimistic about things. Now, this strategy itself that he's employing is just about accumulation. It doesn't matter. Bitcoin can drop as long as it wants. It can rise up as much as it wants. He wants Bitcoin and he accumulates as much of it as possible. That's his approach, okay? Now, what's important about this is how is this guy feeling about his unrealized profits in crypto or in Bitcoin? Well, let's just go and have a look at the Glassnode and look at where the psychology of people are right now with Bitcoin. So you can see this right here on the Glassnode. This is the net unrealized profit and loss for Bitcoin, right? You can see that these pink areas right here is what you call capitulation, where the guys holding the crypto, they can't handle it anymore, the exposure, they just sell up and just let go of their holdings, right? Now, what we've seen is we've already had effectively a capitulation event when Bitcoin came down to 15K. Okay. Now, from that point, you see this pink line going to orange to dark orange. There's a psychology behind it in principle. It says here that right now, if you look at this point here, it's a dark brown, or a dark orange as such, right? That says that out of the two, if it's pointing upwards, it means that everyone is very optimistic. Okay. And we see that when it's pointing downwards, people are feeling anxious or they've got anxiety. The next step is to go into the green, okay? Now, let me just go back out again. Let me just reset, put that all there. Now, from the dark orange that we see here, going into green, that would be belief. So we're not yet there, but we're getting close towards the turning point of belief. And you see this line up here? We're getting closer and closer towards it. So that means that unrealized profit and losses of traders or holders of Bitcoin are going to change in principle to a state of belief that Bitcoin is going to continue higher. The only next step from that would be the euphoria, okay? Where the greed and the excitement of crypto is going crazy. And you can see the euphoric state doesn't really last that long. Look at Bitcoin when it made that move to 20K, didn't really last that long. It takes a tumble to the downside. And then we had at 67, we did not get that same euphoric state by people in cryptocurrency. They weren't as excited about Bitcoin hitting 67 as they were when it hit 20. So that could tell me that the guys who picked up cryptocurrency or Bitcoin at really, really, really low prices, like a cent, they were loving life at that point, okay? But we didn't get that same euphoric point when Bitcoin hit 67. That's really important. So the mindset right now for people holding Bitcoin is they are optimistic. They're anticipating higher prices. So that means they're going to be holding it, okay? Coupled with the idea of, look, UBS allowing wealthy clients to trade crypto ETFs in Hong Kong, the Ethereum ETF, the Bitcoin ETF, BlackRock, iShares ETF. It's all geared for Bitcoin to move up, which is why when we go into the chart, you will see Bitcoin make these sharp moves up, sharp moves down. Because if they anticipate that Bitcoin's going to continue higher, they're going to want to pay it cheaply as possible at the highest point, okay? So we take the idea of price making a move like this, move up, okay? It's when it pulls back aggressively where they'll be loading up on their longs, and then they'll be quickly trying to take advantage of the move back up again, all right? This area right here is where they are picking up Bitcoin, okay? Same in this area right here. Look, the red vector candle drops price, takes out all the liquidation points. It's an opportunity to buy Bitcoin cheaper at lower prices, and then it just triggers the move back up, okay? So keep that in mind when you are looking to get involved in Bitcoin or buying Bitcoin. The mindset right now is there's excitement in crypto. So we're going to see plenty more of these stop runs as Bitcoin climbs towards those precedented 40K levels. Now, I've gone onto Twitter and I've looked at what people are saying about cryptocurrency. You've got the guys that are adamant it's going to drop. You've got the guys that are adamant it's going to continue to go higher. You've got people that call it a Ponzi scam. People call it whatever they want to call it, okay? But of course, as long as Bitcoin is around, and if anyone can have whatever opinion they want, everyone is going to be following what this guy is doing, okay? You just got to literally be the maximalist. He believes he's going to be a very, very powerful man with the amount of Bitcoin that he holds, okay? If Bitcoin is going to become the future, which I do believe it's going to be. When we look at it from a trading perspective, we can exploit Bitcoin up and down, okay? It does come with emotions. We can't deny that. You know, you'll be in a question where you say, should I hold my bag? Should I get rid of it? Should I take some profits? In my opinion, the best way to exploit or start preparing the bag is like this. Take yourself a number of assets that you want to invest in, okay? Don't make the mistake of thinking that you need to hold millions of coins for the smallest amount of money possible. There's a reason why it's cheap, okay? Why is it when you get assets that get listed on exchanges or new cryptocurrency coins and they get listed for $10, $15, $5? When you get these binary code assets like this, okay, it's to garner interest. I mean, come on, Baby Shark. Lots of it is mean. But listen, there's a strategy with that. I get that, okay? That might be for the person that's got some flavor with risk. What about the conservative guy that wants to only grow his bag and he's got, say, $1,000 or $5,000? How is he going to find out what assets are going to do good? You can go and research whatever the company's doing. That's fine, okay? But again, white paper, volume, and the developers. Those are the main things that are going to make you think that the company is engaged in making sure that the coin has longevity, okay? Because look, if the coin is good enough, it's going to catch on, all right? That's the way it works, okay? Now, let's just go over to this right here to understand where is the volume going, okay? Now, I've seen a lot of guys talking about TRB, okay? So let's just quickly look at that before we start diving into Bitcoin. Now, it's been doing a mad move up, mad move down. Let's just look at when this coin was listed, all right? So let's just go to the 6-month chart. All right. Okay, so back in 2020, the opening price was $44 based on Binance's data. All right. I may be incorrect, but I'm just using this as an example. $45. It went all the way down to $6. All right. But it went to a high of 163. We're already now at 89. All right. Always look for altcoins if you're going to trade them or load up your bag. At least minimum of around $1. Now, if it's below $1 and it's like 25 cents, look for the volume. How much volume is behind that coin? Then do the white paper, then do the developers, because there's a reason why so much volume is going into a coin that is very, very cheap. The same way why a certain coin is very, very cheap with no volume, okay? Not much interest in it. It's a meme coin. It's a working towards a potential rug pull. You just don't know, okay? Going into TRX, just looking at the volume right now, just quickly bring that bad boy out. TRX USDT. We have got TRON. It's been doing very well coming into the vector candle wick recovery right here. So that's good news on the 6-month chart. And that coin, look, 0.04. That's when it started. Went all the way down to 0.007, 007. But it's one of the big coins, okay? It's been here from day get-go. It's been 2018, all right? It's been part of the game, all right? And it's still going. And it's moving up, okay? So take that into consideration. Again, it's less, well, now it's 10 cents, but before it was like, back then, 0.07. So it's, again, a cheap altcoin, but look at what's going on behind it. What's the ecosystem? How is it being used? Like, look at Binance, for example. That's the flavor right there, okay? Let's just go and look at something else as well before we get into Bitcoin, because the markets will be opening very, very shortly. So what we got here, I'm looking at waves. I've got waves. Let me just look at Solana for a split second. I want to look at Solana because Solana's doing some interesting moves, man. Solana is dangerous right now. When I say it's dangerous, you know, anyone that wants to try and short Solana might be getting slapped across the face because Solana is just showing absolutely phenomenal strength. Going into this, I'm not seeing the volume coming in on Solana, but with TRX, we've seen these purchases at 11:15 this morning, 11 million, 14, 17. It's just non-stop TRX, and it's increasing as prices are moving up. We went from 11 million on futures, then going to 129, 148, and 165. So something's happening with TRX, guys. So you might want to be checking that bad boy out. But going into Solana, I'm not seeing, I saw Solana's, here we go. Solana, we had about 19 million sold on Solana. But with that being said, there's a lot of profit taking happening with Solana because it's just not stopped going up. Okay, we go into the higher time frames. Look on the 1-hour chart. Look at that. It's just trading beautifully to the upside. And it's a night, but like I said to you, remember what I said to you about Bitcoin? They need to sell it from the highest point to load it up again at the lowest point at the highest range so that they can take advantage of the momentum that's coming into the chart. Just look, they make the move up, spike back down, drop it aggressively, consolidate, bring it up, do the same thing again like Bitcoin, drop it and shift back out again, okay? This is what you're going to get when a coin is trending higher, okay? So keep that in mind, all right? Make sure that you're not, when you see an extended move by a certain asset, right? Just be wary of it. The only way that you can work that out is look at how it trades away and towards the 50 EMA, okay? Solana right now has moved away from the 50 EMA. That's cool. So I know that volatility has come in. I'm expecting them to try and pull assets, but will pull Solana back. And if the strength is present, they will maintain price above the 5 and 13 EMA, all right? Which is the yellow line and the red line right there. Keeping it simple, okay? Now we got something more complex where we look at the green vector candle, take the high, take the low, and look at that for an area of support, because we would assume that if that's the point that they started to lift price from, we're going to assume that that's the point where they can start loading up the longs again and effectively break down to bring it back up again, all right? In other words, finding support, okay? Another way of going into the assets in regards to altcoins, because I know guys are looking for altcoins, go to the totals chart on the altcoin market cap and say to yourself, right, where are all the altcoins right now? You've got altcoins that have just tested the 50 EMA. Most of them are trading around the daily open, and there's not been that much volatility on the altcoins overall, which means that any altcoins right now that are above the moving average are outperforming most of the altcoin market. So we now need to go and find altcoins that are doing that. Now, when we do find those altcoins themselves, we're going to say to ourselves, okay, then how can I exploit that? Well, let's just look at MATIC, for example. MATIC has been trending beautifully to the upside. Love this coin in terms of how it trades, all right? But let's just see. Now it's at the 50 EMA, so it's moved back in. So this is one of the averages. It's sticking in line with the bigger marketplace, all right? You look at Solana, it's away from that. So we know that Solana is away from the 50 EMA, so it's one of the leaders. So you put that in your list for potential trading opportunities, whether you trade it back into the moving average or it holds around the 5 and 13 EMA on the moving averages to suggest a higher trend, okay? Remember, it is extended to the upside because the range daily high has come into play, so we expect reversals to come from that point, okay? We then go into XRP. Where's that bad boy? Well, that bad boy's taken a move to the downside. It has made an aggressive move up. So that's logically what we expect to happen with the altcoin when it's made such a significant move up as well. Okay. Going into JASMY coin. Look, it's up 20%, ladies and gentlemen. So these are the coins that are away from the 50 EMA. Now, if the general altcoin market consolidates at the 50 EMA, these coins will come back down to their 50 EMA. And then if the market starts to pick up on average again, this is the coin that will initiate the test back into the moving average, consolidate to climb back up again. That's the approach that you want to have when you're trading altcoins. So when you're buying altcoins for your bag, watch the white paper, check it out. Keep an eye on the developers, research where they are, what companies have they been in, look at the volume, how many coins are circulating. That's going to help you understand and justify, or in other words, doing your due diligence as to before you buy a stock. Look at the information I get when I want to go and buy a stock. Here's Mara. What do I have on Mara? Okay, then look. I've got lots of information here. I've got its earnings per share, the top left right there. I can see its earnings. Well, I can't see its earnings per share growth rate, but I've got information about the way the company's being managed. They've got a 203% debt. Their beta is 3.3. Management owns 1% of the stock. 27% of stock is owned by funds, and they've increased the amount of fund ownership since June 23 quarter. Going into September's quarter, we now have 309 funds holding the stock. We've got 1,608 million shares, okay? So we can see there's volume right there. On average, they trade roughly around 32 million shares per day, and it's priced at $9, all right? I can dive into it even more and understand what the stock is saying. I can see where it is in terms of its industry, what are the guys in this area or where this stock is listed, what are the other participants doing? Well, I can look at BVH and I'll say to myself, what's going on there? Yep, management owns 36% of the stock and funds own 42% of the stock. So when you've got a company that the management doesn't hold much of the stock, it means that they're trying to raise as much capital as possible by shifting out as much of the stock. This company, the management owns 36% of the stock, okay? And then you've got funds that own 42% of the stock. So there is a demand for this, which is why it trades so nicely. Okay. This is a company whose principal holding is Bluegreen Vacations Corporation. All right. So I'm doing my due diligence. I'm trying to understand the company. Yet this company has 236% debt, high interest rates. That's a problem for companies who are subject to interest rate increases. Do the same thing with your altcoins. The only information you can get from an altcoin is the white paper, the developers, the history of the developers, platforms they're listed on, circulation of the coins, how many holders in the addresses with the addresses themselves. And then that's all you can do. You can't pull up nothing magical from a coin that's like, oh my God, this could be the next 50x, 2000x, 50 millionx. You've got to really approach it as if you would be buying a stock. You do the same thing with buying a house. Don't buy an altcoin just on the hype. The idea is to get in before the hype. And that's where the sweet spot is. Because if you are the person that is selling into the hype, you've done yourself a service. That's the goal, to sell into the hype. Oh my God, my altcoin that I picked up, I knew it was going to do well. Everyone's talking about it on Twitter right now. Sell, sell, sell. That's what the guy who's got a minimal investment. Look at Pepe coin, man. The guys that picked up Pepe and they've made so much money off it. They got into the sweet spot. They sold into the hype. Happy days, you know? Cool. All right, then. So I hope you enjoyed that little bit of flavor. Drew, what is going on? Tino, can you look at PBR? Brazil State Oil Company, about 200% in 2003. PBR. Okay, let's have a look. PBR. Here we go. Brasileiro. Right, oil and gas integrated. Right, okay, so, yeah, earnings per share. Yeah, doesn't really have much. Debts 46%, management own 1%, funds hold 9%. Remember, this company is in an emerging market, all right? Brazil, India, these are emerging markets. So it's $15, but it does trade a lot of volume, okay? And funds around 509 funds hold this stock or trade it, okay? So even though it's an emerging market, it's one of the best in the oil game, in my opinion. And you can see it's doing great. It's a bit choppy, but it's a decent company to be mindful of, because once Brazil establishes itself and it's no longer an emerging market and it's one of the big economies, companies like this are going to be killing it. Okay? So take that into consideration. Now, let's get into the good old price action. So what time are we on? Now the market is open. I now need to start breaking it all down. Here we go. So we have got news announcements coming out very, very shortly. It's 3 o'clock. Consumer sentiment will be out. And looking at Bitcoin on the order flow, we have got a lot of liquidity coming into play right now. We've got limit buys coming in very closely to where price is. And we've got some limit sales at 37,900. Now, Friday is quite notorious for profit-taking days or building bases. Now, what do I mean by building bases? Well, quite frankly, when the Forex market closes tonight at 10 p.m., there's no more Forex trading, okay? And the only market that is open is cryptocurrency, right? So whatever happens today, Bitcoin does have the capacity to try and clear this liquidity up here at 38,600. Why? Because I can see the liquidity is up there, all right? Now, it doesn't mean that it's going to do it indefinitely, quickly open up your trades and go long on that. We have to understand what's actually going on here. You can see very closely, see these two little black dots right here, or black lines here, the gaps? See those two gaps? Right there tells me that the player up there who's got 835 Bitcoin orders that he wants to sell, he's a little bit inconsistent about it. Why? Because he's canceling and putting it back on. He's looking at the chart and he's like, maybe it's an algorithm. Maybe the algorithm is programmed to say that if the deviation of price away from the order drops 0.2%, cancel the order, okay? If it goes back up plus 2% or 0.2%, then put the order back on. It could be something like that, okay? We won't know what the metrics are for the order. We also could assume that it's some dude, okay, sat in his garden or sat in his office and he's just gone and put in a big Bitcoin order, okay? On Binance, 836 contracts. Happy days. He wants to sell from that point, and he's monitoring the marketplace. We can see the book is already imbalanced to minus 19%. So sellers are coming in, which means price is going up because the sells are at the top, the buys are at the bottom. What do we always say? Buy low, sell high? Yeah? You wouldn't go to a Ferrari car dealership and say, give me the most expensive Ferrari that you have got that is continuously increasing in value, and I'll let you know when I buy it. He's going to be thinking, wow, this guy is an absolute clown. Why would you buy something that is continuously increasing in value? It doesn't make sense, does it? Which is why limit buys are always placed at the lowest point. That's why you see market makers smacking price lower, because he's buying, attacking the guys who previously brought and didn't pay themselves. He loads up on the longs. You do that by placing limit buys. When those limit buys get triggered, the only next logical thing is those limit buys are going to place limit sells. And they're going to be placing them higher. And that's the art of trading, to try and find the spot where you can get your limit buy and then place your limit sell. That's what you're looking for, okay? Now, the zones that we got, 36,200, 36,600. Bitcoin is trading at the VWAP. We've got no movement. Now, we look at the chart itself and we say, okay, Bitcoin's trading away from the daily open. This candlestick is very important. And you have got 25 minutes effectively to see the proof that this candlestick is designed to move away. Why? because we've been playing around the daily open right here, which is this yellow line. If Bitcoin can sustain this daily open move where it's moved away from it, it's come back down to recover the green vector at speed, and it's moved back up again, there is strength. We've got a huge imbalance at top. So we know that retail traders are starting to come in. If we look at the liquidation points, you can see, if I just run that for Bitcoin, what time are we on? Okay, gonna be quick. You can see that they're already garnering interest in Bitcoin. Look, you've got $27 million worth of longs opened at 37,209. The guys that came late to the party have been liquidated. Down there, 37,000, 100x traders have been liquidated, okay? They gave Bitcoin a $200 leeway, okay? And that's where their margin got hit. They've been shaken out. Guys are starting to run shorts right now. So the trap could be getting set. So that means market maker historically has built his longs at lower prices. That could mean market maker, in principle, is getting ready to sell inside of this area. That could be a market maker. It could be an individual player. It could be a company. It could be a conglomerate. You don't know. But 836 contracts of Bitcoin, that is a big flavorsome move to the upside, okay? So keep an eye out on that. He wants to sell from there, all right? Cool. Ladies and gentlemen, make sure I've got that all there. Happy days. I hope that makes sense. For those of you that are going to start getting involved in the altcoin game, trying to load up your bag and what have you, remember white paper and, of course, developers, volume, and don't just blindly go into it, you know. Do it no differently to where you would buy a house, buy a car, you know. Due diligence, ladies and gentlemen. I'll be checking in with you all later on tonight, guys. We've got the last live for the end of the week. Make sure you check in and go check out tradersreality.com for more flavor on the hybrid system. Take care of yourselves, gang. Peace.